So, Galileo, who is he? Let's take a look. This is LeonardoNewtonic.com. Accomplishments of Galileo Galilei. So, he was a CGI artist. He looked in telescopes and he wrote things with lots of weird symbolism. So, 1560. He's the first person who studied the skies in detail with a telescope. He made numerous significant discoveries in astronomy, including the phases of Venus and the four largest moons of Jupiter. His contributions to science include the Galilean invariance and discovery of isochronism in pendulums. Number 1. Hydrostatic balance. Based on Archimedes' principle, weighing precious metals in air and then in water to determine their purity was a common practice among jewelers in Europe. 1586, at the age of 22, Galileo developed a better method, which he described in a treatise titled La Bilancetta. In Galileo's hydrostatic balance, the part of the arm on which the counterweight was hung was wrapped with metal wire. The amount of which the counterweight had to be moved when weighing in water could then be determined based on how many wraps. So he was studying density and buoyancy. That's interesting. He invented a forerunner to the modern thermometer. Consists of a tube. Liquid rises and falls when the temperature changes. So it was basically a thermometer with a kind of a crappy design, not so portable. Credited with inventing the military compass, which is just basically a plumb bob, and he's got some degrees marked there, which sure it's useful. I think it probably has more to do with his religion, anything else. Discovered that pendulums were isochronous, so no matter how wide the swing is, it will be the same speed. Yeah, it's a good thing for keeping time. Interesting how astronomers have an inclination towards rectifying the situation with time, measurement, and conveying it to people. First practical refracting telescope appeared in the Netherlands around 1608. Galileo heard of it, and he improved it. It says up to 30 times, which I don't know how powerful it was, but that's quite powerful. Nikon P900 is 83. So if his was 30 times the original, even if he was only getting 5 zoom off it, it's a pretty powerful telescope. Almost unbelievable, really. I mean, here's one. He discovered the four largest moons of Jupiter. Uh, I don't think I've ever made out 4 on Jupiter with the P900. I'd have to look, but I think 3 is the limit that I've gotten. So, yeah, he must have had an incredible setup. Pioneering work on the scientific method. Prior to Galileo, scientific inquiry relied heavily on authority. That's interesting. Basically, he became the only authority. He stated the basic principles of relativity. He came up with a theory. Considered the father of modern science because, we've just listened to what he says. So, there was one other one I wanted to point out. Oh, it was right here. I missed it. The phases of Venus are the different variations of lighting seen on the planet's surface, similar to the moon's phases. Now, I have not been tracking Venus. I'm going to get the camera out again, do some tracking on Venus. However, I've never seen any of the planets present like this. They say that he was able to detect this years ago, which maybe his telescope was easier to focus than the P900, but still, out of your mind. These are just fake. That's all. You're not going to see that yourself. I don't know for sure what you're going to see out of a super powerful telescope, but uh, doesn't look anything like that. It looks more like this. So those are the accomplishments of Galileo. He CGI artist and symbol guy. Basically, he wrote some stuff. So why is he famous? Why is he popular? Well, we've got a story about how he was the enemy of the Catholic Church, of the Pope himself. And essentially, the Catholics pretend like they did not support heliocentrism, when in reality they were just spreading heliocentrism around the world. Sun worship has pretty much always been their game. So they said he was under house arrest. He was already in his old age. They were admitting that it was heresy, and he was placed under house arrest for 8 years. So he had to go to his home. He was old. All right, so Galileo was raised a Jesuit. He worked as a Jesuit priest. All right, so while there's people out there being accused of witchcraft regularly, worshiping the devil, practicing black magic, black sacrifices, all that stuff, those people were being killed up until 1826. But when Galileo Galilei says sun worship is the way to go and the opposite of the Bible is the only truth, then he gets house arrest. Not just house arrest, but, you know, you don't just get to exist for 8 years without having some sort of income. If people were buying his book, it's because the Catholics allowed it to be sold. And history shows us that the Catholics supported him. They carried this nonsense all the way across the world. This is his claim to fame right here. You got to realize when you bring this up, this is what people say. No, no, no. Galileo, he was an enemy of the church, and the church sought to suppress knowledge, his secret knowledge that only he had. The bad church definitely tried to stop him, right? What an interesting inquisition. Here, you're gonna get executed. You're gonna go home. How do you decide things like that? Am I being rude? Is that a little too judgmental of me to say all those things about the first scientist? Well, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that his resume was padded, and you're about to see one that's even worse. And in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, any scientist today could do what Galileo did his entire lifetime just in the space of a couple of hours. Seriously, he made a telescope better. Okay, so he just moved the lens further out. He's like, oh, he moved it out further. Great. What a genius. Did he add one more lens? Come on. These are barely accomplishments. All right, so this guy, 10 accomplishments of Stephen Hawking. Hopefully this is number one, so I am impressed so far. Born on 8th of January. It's a big deal. Not born every day. Theoretical physicist, cosmologist, author. Famous for his work on black holes, which are a fantasy you can't ever see. Brief History of Time. It's best-selling. That's the best part about it. The greatest scientist in Britain's history. He's received several awards, gold medals, Copley Medal, Royal Society, Presidential Medal of Freedom, no less. Claims he's got a contribution to science. Groundbreaking work on black holes. One-dimensional point which contains infinite mass in an infinitely small space. In a singularity, gravity becomes infinite. Space-time curves infinitely, and the laws of physics as we know them cease to exist. Along with English mathematician physicist Roger Penrose, Stephen Hawking did path-breaking work on singularities which proved their existence, theorized that the universe might be begun as a singularity. These guys are just ridiculous. Look at this clown. Hawking discovered the 4 laws of black hole mechanics. Did he? What are they? Let's see your laws. His most significant theory is that black holes emit the Hawking radiation. Hawking showed the black holes emit radiation. Okay, so where's the black holes then? You can find them with radiation. He contributed to the theory of cosmic inflation. Wow, he contributed to a theory. Along with James Hartle, he proposed an important model on universe initial state. He just came up with an idea. Him and this nerd got together and they're like, what if this happened? Yeah, write that down. We'll get an award for it. He proposed a theory of top-down cosmology. Oh, upside-down science. Wow, never heard of that one before. Are you sure? Are you sure you came up with that, bud? Pretty sure we've heard that one before. Upside-down science. He wrote A Brief History of Time. And its most impressive aspect is how many sold. Popular books. Popular being the key word. Not useful, popular. Awards. Gold medal of the Royal Astronomical Society. And his 10th, number 10 accomplishment for Stephen Hawking is he was ranked as one of the 100 greatest Britons in a BBC poll. This is a preeminent physicist of the world, that guy. If you think this isn't a joke on you, you're wrong. You're completely mistaken. Hawkins and the Higgs boson doesn't do anybody any good. Just doesn't do anybody any good, Hawking. So that's him. I mean, that's his proof. You see? Don't you get it? There's a circle on the. Don't you get it? And then the squiggly. You're an idiot if you do not understand this. This is the beginning of the universe, and that's the end. Don't you get it? This is what useful information looks like. Did you know that this is it? So I'm not really sold on this. Does this guy actually have any information that helps to do anything but draw circles? See, it's widened out later on. You just don't get it. You're too dumb. You don't understand particle physics. This is theoretical astrophysics. You're not going to get higher education than this. But what good is it? That's the question. That is the question. What good is it? My book, How to Tell Time by the Moon, it states what you get out of it. How to Tell Time by the Moon. Get it? Since no other astronomer can tell time by the moon, I'd say that's a worthy topic for a book. You end up with a skill. Quality of your life increases. Not quantity of books and quantity of awards and quantity of pictures. The quality of your life. So do these guys know anything? I'm not convinced. You know what? To tell you the truth, even if space was real, I still don't think these guys are useful in any way. In any way. What's useful about this? For those black hole mechanics. So you don't pilot your ship into the black hole. Uh-huh. They really messed up with black holes, you know. They went ahead and designed the whole solar system and said that it all worked out mathematically, and now there's black holes everywhere. So, where's the black holes at? Obviously, they're not pulling on us in our solar system. This is the type of contribution you can expect out of these people. It's a picture, you know, a half-cocked idea that doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh yeah, it sucks in the stuff. It's got lots of density, and there's no volume, and so it just basically you can't even see it. It's super small, but if you could see it, this is what it would be. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. You don't have proof that this man knew anything. Literally anything. Do you know a cartoon could have these accomplishments? Seriously, a cartoon could. This could be an IMDb about cartoon, about some cartoon. Okay? Because you can't go outside and be like, oh yeah, oh I can do this because of Stephen Hawking Duck. He was a great astronomer, and I'm sure of it because squiggly, circle, positive, negative. That's how I know. And if you're too dumb to understand that this is a genius that we're talking about, then that's your problem. Because the rest of us get it. Look, beginning, end. What's not to understand? Seriously. Am I being rude? Am I being harsh? That this guy, seriously, what has he done? This guy didn't even like pioneer the work. All it is an idea. He didn't even pioneer the idea. It's terrible. I was in the room when this idea was, someone had this idea. If you think that's not an insult on you, you're completely mistaken.